We're going to move on to Professor Wilfred Peh. He's a senior consultant and head of Department of Diagnostic Radiology at the Kutek Puat Hospital and clinical professor at the National University of Singapore. He served as a senior editor of the British Journal of Radiology Now and was also the Singapore Medical Journal editor for a number of terms. He's a past APAME president. And Wilfred's going to talk about conventional peer review, different models and processes. Wilfred, welcome and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you see my screen? Great. Okay, so today I'll be talking about conventional peer review. I will talk briefly about the origins and concepts, and the main focus of the lecture will be on models and processes of the different peer review models. Peer review did not always exist. This is the first medical journal that was published in 1665. Philosophical Transactions. This journal was published and edited by a single person who accepted papers that he thought were suitable. The first journal to introduce peer review was this journal from Edinburgh, and this was in 1731. There was an editorial committee, so this was internal review. So the practice of appointing external reviewers did not really start until the mid-20th century, and I've listed a few of the major journals and the starting dates for external peer review for these journals. Peer review can be defined as the critical evaluation of a submitted manuscript by the peers of authors. So these will be authors and scientists working in the same area of interest or subspecialization as the authors. It is deemed critical to the reputation and reliability of scientific research, and it helps the editor make a decision as to whether a manuscript is suitable for the journal. So in short, it aids journals in the gatekeeping of the knowledge pool, helping to reject poor quality or unoriginal work and to promote good work. It also offers feedback and constructive criticism to authors, and is currently adopted by all major journals, despite being less than perfect. So the peer reviewers are important partners in the whole research and publication system, complementing the authors who produce the research and the material, and the editorial office, which eventually publishes it and adds the work to the knowledge pool. There are many different ways of organizing peer review in different journals. Conventionally, there's usually 2 to 4 reviewers per manuscript. Reviewers are selected from a database kept by the journal. Reviewer availability is checked, and clear instructions to reviewers are given, and a time deadline is also given for return of the review by the reviewers. I'll go through each of these models in turn: single-blinded, double-blinded, triple-blinded, transparent, open, hybrid, and patient review. I was told that using the word blinded is not correct. You should use the word anonymized, but that is quite a mouthful. So I may stick to the word blinded. So for single-blinded review, there are 2 basic subtypes. Subtype 1 is when the authors know the identity of the reviewers, but the reviewers do not know the identity of authors. This is also known as author-guided review, where authors are allowed to nominate their reviewers. Currently, it's not very commonly practiced. The pros of this system is that it protects against potential reviewer bias. It's easier for editors because the reviewers are nominated, and it helps reduce reviewer time. However, the major defect is that there's potential for fraud. That is probably why this system is getting out of flavor. The second type of single-blinded peer review is when the reviewers know the identity of authors, but the authors do not know the identity of the reviewers. This type is more the commoner type of the two single-blinded review types. The advantage is that it protects the reviewers from authors because authors don't know the identity of the reviewers. But the disadvantage is that there's potential for reviewer bias. So here's an example of an email that asked me to consider reviewing this article. You can see the name of the article and also the name of the authors. So example of single-blinded review. And this is reviewer page from one of the journals I used to review for. And you can see highlighted in the right-hand column, for each article, I know the names of the corresponding authors. So this is an example of a single-blinded review. In double-blinded review, the reviewers are anonymized to the authors, and the authors are anonymized to reviewers. And this is probably the most common type of review model that is practiced currently. The advantage is that it negates effect of personal dislikes or animosity by reviewers because they don't know who the authors are, and also negates the effect of big name authors submitting manuscripts. This model is favorable to younger researchers, women, minorities, foreigners, and less well-known institutions or papers that are submitted from non-traditional centers because the reviewers don't know where the authors come from. And it also protects reviewers because they are anonymized. Triple-blinded review is a variant of the double-blinded model where the handling editor, reviewer, and author are all anonymized to each other. And the advantage of this model is that it further decreases bias because it takes the author, the editor out of the process. Disadvantage is that complete blinding is difficult, and it is quite time-consuming to do this triple-blinded process. Transparent peer review is another variant of the double-blinded review process. In this system, the reviewers' reports are published together with the article in the journal, but without the names of the reviewers. Another variant of the transparent peer review model is when editorial comments and correspondence are published together with the article. And the aim of this is to provide complete transparency over the peer review process, and readers are able to judge the review quality as well as the basis for editorial decisions. So this is supposed to be more transparent than the other models. I'll spend a bit more time on open review. This is when the authors and reviewers' names are revealed to each other. The UK House of Commons report about 14 years ago described this as an experimental system, although a lot of journals have adopted this system. Open review can be divided into two groups. One is pre-publication, where The manuscript is sent for open peer review after initial assessment by the journal editor. One variant is when the manuscript is uploaded onto a preprint server, allowing open participation by the community and open exchange that everyone can see among the authors and potential reviewers. Another variant is so-called decoupled review, where there's an open platform review process facilitated by a different organization other than the journal. The next group of open review is post-publication. We have the time-honored letter to the editor, where the article can be commented upon by anybody, any reader of the journal after publication, and the comments are sent in the form of a letter to the editor of the journal. A variant of this would be an online peer forum hosted by the journal. And another variant is when post-publication open review is hosted by an independent website. The pros of open review is that everything is open and transparent. There's supposed to be increased accountability and fairness by reviewers, and reviewers get credit because everyone knows who they are. Other pros are that the reviewer is less likely to be biased and more likely to put in its best effort, resulting in a better quality review because their name is attached to it, to the review. And there's also easier detection of reviewer conflict of interest by others reading the paper. The internet has opened the possibility of the whole review process being conducted openly online, and that is another advantage. There are several cons. It may be difficult to get reviewers, especially for the preprint server variant. The journal just needs volunteers to review. There's also the possibility of reviewer bias. Reviewer may be reluctant to offend big name authors attached to the manuscript. And there's also the danger of inadequate review in the rush to get preprint data released. And this comes from an important statement by three reputable medical writers associations from America, Europe, and the ISMAP, the International Society of Medical Publishing Professionals. Hybrid review incorporates external peer review in addition to traditional double-blinded review, external open peer review in addition to traditional double-blinded review. And this system is favored by open reviewers because they do not take complete responsibility for and accept rejection decision, because there is the second layer of traditional double-blinded reviews. But the disadvantage is that the process becomes much longer. The whole process becomes more time-consuming, and there's more work by the editorial office.
My earphones.
Okay, lastly, I will touch on patient peer review, which is a relatively new concept. The aim of patient peer review is to enable formal feedback from patients, patient advocates, and patient carers on the way a study is presented. And this practice has been adopted by a few journals, starting with the BMJ about 10 years ago. And other journals are a journal called Patient Involvement and Experience and Engagement from the BMC stable, and another journal, Patient Experience Journal. These are the few I've come across. So in addition to the journal's conventional academic reviewers, patient peer reviews draw on their own experiences as patients, patient carers, and patient advocates to give their input into the suitability of the submitted manuscript. This is taken from BMJ, so you can see the review process highlighted in red. In addition to the academic reviewers, there are additional patient reviewers. The advantages of patient peer reviews are that they evaluate whether the issues discussed are relevant to patients, highlight challenges faced by patients, and give opinions as to whether new treatment has potential patient benefits. So these are things that may be overlooked by conventional academic reviewers. However, there are several disadvantages. That's probably why the concept has not been fully developed. And many concerns have been raised and published, and I've listed a few of them on this slide. So in summary, peer review is currently adopted by all major journals. Several models and variants exist, each with its own pros and cons. That's probably why there isn't a single universal peer review system. It's not perfect, but it is still the best way for quality control of materials submitted for publication. Here are some of the articles and chapters that have been written by me and my colleagues, including Peter Monk and Joey LaPena.
Wilfred, thank you very much. That
Thank
was
you.
a tour de force. Can I ask you a question? If you had to choose, based on what we know, what's the best system? What should journal editors be encouraged to do? Because there are so many variants.
I'm in favor of the double-blinded system, the traditional peer review system.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Ginny, please go ahead. Ginny Barber.
Hi, actually, I wasn't. Oh, I've got this on the wrong thing. I was actually just clapping from what for the presentation. I thought it was really good. I will just say the one thing that I think is a real challenge for double anonymous or double blind peer review is the issue of when you've got small communities. And I suspect that all of us have that in our journals, is that, you think that you're anonymizing, but actually everybody knows everyone. So I'd be curious to know how others handle that.
Yes, in my world, that's very easy to work out. The big players you work out very quickly, even if you don't know who they are, that you know who they are almost for sure. It makes it very hard.